Okay, so I'm very excited for this session. It's always a pleasure for our team to host the APUS Analog Research Group. And so we have Dr. Kristen Miller here, who's the lead faculty advisor for this project. And we also have a couple of students who've participated in AARG joining us today to talk a little bit about their research as well. So with that, we can go ahead and start, Dr. Miller.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. We always love to talk about the program. We're always excited to share what we're doing, and thank you all for being here. I'm going to keep my part super short because I think that everyone wants to hear from the students and their experience. I know that's probably way more of a highlight than hearing me talk. So, so I'm just going to quickly introduce our program and what we do, and then I will turn the time over to them. Right, so this is our 2023 Research Activities Report. This is from our mission statement. So basically the APUS Analog Research Group, or ARG, we have several different purposes, but the ones that are most relevant to what we'll be talking about today are these two, which are to perform meaningful research, which will be relevant in furthering long-term space exploration and settlement initiatives, and also to foster multidisciplinary team-based research experiences within the confines of an online environment. And basically when we first envisioned this research group and excuse me, we first started thinking about, why we wanted to develop this, it was because we wanted to provide opportunities for students to be able to perform that hands-on experience, to have those, to work as a team, to develop research projects, to have the chance to actually, gather data and explore topics that are relevant in space studies today. So from that first idea, ARG has grown into the organization that it is today. This slide, let's say, yeah. So we currently perform 3 analog missions per year, 2 a year at University of North Dakota's ILMA facility, which you can see pictured here in the top left. This white structure in the background is ILMA, which is the integrated lunar Martian analog habitat. We go there twice. We send groups of students there twice a year to do research. And then once a year, we also do sort of a bonus project at a different research facility, which allows us to try out some really cool opportunities for research in other locations. And so in this talk, I'm just going to briefly highlight the research projects that and analog missions that we did last year. And then I'm going to we have several of our crew members from those missions here. We'll let them talk about their experience and their research. So this was our first mission in 2023, which was the ARG-4I mission. We had a crew of 3. You can see them here, Dennis Miller at the top, Olivia Turner, and Bo Malnick. They did a lot of really cool experiments. You can see them in the spacesuits. It's a lot of fun, and a lot of really amazing research that came out of it. In the fall, we went back to ILMA with ARG-4I. You see Olivia again. She returned as our commanding officer with Kaylin Cecil, Tom DeJohn, and Luis Gonzalez. They did a lot of, again, a lot of really interesting research, a lot of EVA heavy research, as well as some plant research with microgreens. And we tried out some off-nominal simulations, which were pretty cool. That's when something goes wrong, basically. So we had scenarios where we would send them, this has gone wrong, and they had to figure out how to overcome that problem as a team. One of our very cool missions, this was actually in January of 2024, but we spent all of 2023 planning it, was our first Pirate mission. Pirate is a paired in-situ research experience mission. We went to the Jules Verne Lodge with a crew of 4. Scott Van Hoy is the commanding officer. He is an AMU student as well as, or alumni now, as well as one of the original founders of ARG. He got to lead his first mission at Jules Verne with Olivia Turner, Luis Gonzalez, and Dr. Christy Drexler. We were really excited to have her join us on this mission. This was an undersea mission, so a really unique analog habitat, opportunities to do some pretty cool research there. And because some of the members are here on this mission, I included our first mission in 2024 because it just finished a few weeks ago. This was also back at ILMA. This was with Sarah Guthrie as our crew commander, William Wallace and Moses Vidal as our mission specialists on the mission. This was a pretty exciting mission for us. It was our first time doing the Spirulina Research Project, which is our NASA-funded research project. So that was run at this mission, and the crew did an amazing job with it. We wanted to include them in this presentation, even though it was technically 2024. With that, I think I'm going to pause right there and let some of the students come on and talk a little bit about, first introduce themselves. So guys, when you come on, if you want to just, tell us your name, maybe which missions you were on, and then they're going to tell you a little bit about their experience being on the missions, about maybe some of the research that they did while they were on the missions. We'll just, I don't know if it matters which order we go in, so I'll just kind of call in people as you appear on my screen, which puts you first, Bo. I hope that's okay. So we'll let you go ahead and start us off. You can just come on mic and say hello to the group.
Hello, my name's Bo Melnack, and let's see, mine's actually a little short, but I've been working with ARG since ARG 3I. I actually wanted to initially plan to apply for ARG 2I, but it didn't work out with my military orders at the time. So I was happy that they took me on for ARG 3I on their comms team, working making the social posts and the blogs, which I also did for 4I. 5I, 6I, and MDRS and Pirate. And then I was also on the MCC team, which is the mission controllers team, to coordinate and manage with the team that's actually doing the research for 5I and 6I. And the analog that I went on was ARG 4I. The two research projects I did were pretty eye-opening to me. I did observations and recommendations for the ILMA resiliency. That was basically surveying habitat resilience through utilizing a remote piloted drone. I was really looking for sun damage, sediment damage, and trying to weed out when there's wind damage and precipitation damage to the habitat itself, which actually ended up being really difficult. So that's going to definitely turn out to be a long-term research project I'm going to be doing over the next couple of years, I think. And then the other research I was doing was MRE, which is meals ready to eat, and water consumption. And I was wondering, after taking courses, seeing how NASA astronauts got to delicately meal plan for their entire 6-month mission. I was like, well, what happens if you don't get to choose your meal? Like, what if you don't have that option? So I really wanted to weigh the pros and cons of having prepackaged food over longer durations. That kind of backfired a little bit because I ordered 2 boxes of variations of meals, and I only got one variation. So I ate the same thing 36 times in 12 days. And that was kind of also a little eye-opening about how having that, being able to select your meals and everything is a really big deal mentally and physically. And some of the things that I basically learned is we were definitely dealing with a lot of heat issues with the habitat during our research. So the physical challenges due to not being able to step outside and take a breath of fresh air that was really a big blow to me, because I've done a lot of military field operations for the last several years, but I've always been able to go out and just take a nice deep breath and clear my mind. But when you're just sitting there breathing that recycled air over and over that you've probably, even if you have air intake vents, like, yeah, it's a little different mentally and physically. And then also the psychosocial challenges of being confined with people you never met. And, maybe you have some differences and everything, and you have to just kind of have some self-reflection, because, you have to make sure that you're not antagonizing anybody or things like that. I know I can be kind of an annoying person sometimes. So trying to, self-reflect to quickly for a 12-day mission, get it done. Also, some other learning points I had was one of my instructors at military space school told me that no mission plan survives first contact. And we definitely saw that a lot when we saw, maintenance issues breaking down, heat issues, and basically you have to expect the unexpected. And having the strong team with good teamwork leads to team saves, where when somebody else might be failing in the moment, somebody else can shout out and save the moment and actually prevent like a mishap or something from happening. So I think overall ARG really gives the tools to help grow into a leadership position. You have the chance to put your concepts that you've been learning in university to practice. And Yeah, that's really what my big takeaway was from that. You can study, hit the books, everything, or even have run the field, done field work for several years. But then once you're confined and you have to do things a certain way, sometimes you have to come up with clever and ingenuitive workarounds, and you get the chance to do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bob. That was really great. Next, we'll hear from Sarah Guthrie.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Guthrie. I am a recent graduate student of AMU, June 2024, for Space Studies. I've been with AARG since 2021. I was fortunate to be a part of the 2I, 3I, the first crew to go to MDRS. I was mission commander for, and then again for 6I, which was our first NASA partnered study that we did on spirulina. ARG is just a wonderful platform for online students to be able to conduct laboratory research in these anomalous environments. And so I've had several projects go through ARG on these different missions. One of them we call the CURT project, which you may have heard if you've participated in other research briefings by us, which is a contingency EVA rescue scenario. And so how do we perform incapacitation extractions, basically when you have a downed astronaut on the lunar surface during those early lunar phase days of the Artemis program? And unfortunately, that's just a big question that NASA has that hasn't been resolved yet. So ARG has provided the opportunity for us to do that. And so ILMA has also been gracious enough to allow us to use their wonderful AT2 suits as well to kind of give us that feel for the suit mobility and restrictions. Another study that we've done there has been weight distribution systems, where we have an internal harness that kind of redistributes the weight of the spacesuit from the neck and shoulders, which is known to cause a lot of injuries for astronauts, and redistribute it down to the back, waist and hips. And then another study that I've done on myself is with another co-partner, has been a self-sustainment study. So kind of similar to, Bo's question about eating MREs. We know that a lot of astronauts eat prepackaged meals, but what we're looking for is kind of sustainment efficiency. So what is the actual calorie count needed to supply an astronaut on long-term space flight? And so what we've done is had these curated meals that are made for my metabolic rates or for my researchers' metabolic rates. Everything's prepackaged and measured, and we even measure all of the water that we use for hydration, for our food, even for hygiene as well. And just preliminary numbers just kind of show in a 14-day period that females are far more efficient for power usage and consumption. In 14 days, I can eat about 28,000 calories and use about 28 liters of water total, and with very minimal power. And that's basically warming my food by setting it in the window, which would be thermal energy, not using any other energy sources from the habitat. So thankful to ARG for allowing us to do that. One other plug I just want to make is every time we go on a mission, we definitely try to connect with youth, and we do a youth outreach, and we always call in elementary schools or middle schools or even high schools. We've had Girl Scout troops and Boy Scout troops, and it's always a pleasure to share our passion and excitement of STEM with the next generation. And so I hope to continue keep doing that with ARG.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was awesome. Dennis, do you want to go ahead? Dennis Miller?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dennis Miller. I'm a current graduate student going to the Space Policy Program. I was the crew commander for 4I, and I've been the flight director for 5I and 6I. One of the big takeaways for me is the development and refining of our mission SOP and the planning that goes into place, not only for everything that has to happen through that mission, but you also the mission controllers, and also account for a 20-minute time delay and any other things that could happen along the mission that requires, the ability to quickly pivot to one thing or another while undergoing that isolation and that delay. And the other thing is also, as the chief of operations, I also take great joy into teaching people the planning process, me being a planner, and bringing them up and showing them how to, create an SOP and how to create the schedule and all the different intricacies and going there and collecting the lessons learned to be able to pass on to future mission planners. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. Olivia Turner, can you come on and talk? Saw Olivia in the room. I don't know if she's still here or not. Okay, she might.
Listed as a participant, but
Okay, she was previously, but so she might be having some connection issues. But that's okay. If she comes back on, we'll bring her in. And otherwise, thank you, Bo and Dennis and Sarah. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing what your experience was on the missions. The real reason that that we do these missions is because it is such an amazing experience for students, and there's so many things to be learned from it. And we would not be able to do that without the support of the research grants and the support of APUS. So we're very, very grateful for that. And I know, okay, so sorry, I just got a message in here. So I know William is here. William, can you come on and talk? I'm not sure if he was able to come on and speak. One of our other crew members is here, but I think he said he wasn't going to be able to come on mic at this point.
A message in the chat saying he's unable to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, we're glad to have everybody here. I'm going to go ahead and finish us off with a quick overview. And the crew talked about several of these options, but I just wanted to give everyone an idea, share a couple more fun pictures. These are all from our missions with different research experiments, but also just talk a little bit about the different kinds of research that we do in the analog habitats. We've been able to support both student-led projects where students came up with their own research they were interested in and developed the project and brought it on the missions. We've done group projects. We've also done collaborations. We've had a couple of different research projects where we've collaborated with other outside organizations like University of North Dakota, as well as commercial entities like Persistent Systems, who loaned us some of their equipment to test during the analog mission. I just want to stress that the research that we do is multidisciplinary, and I have a list here of some of the areas in which we've done research. There are many more, but we love it when we get students from lots of different departments. I just wanted to take a moment where we have people from lots of different departments. We'd love to advertise our missions across the university. There are opportunities, like Dennis was talking about, for management and logistics types of work is support for the missions, as well as research. There's communications projects. There are nutrition projects we've heard about, botany projects, just a wide range. On the very first slide, our motto, "Space connects everything." It's really true. There are opportunities for many, many different kinds of research, and that's one thing that makes it exciting. And I just wanted to end really quickly with a statement of gratitude for this AIAA student organization, which we're a part of, for the Department of Space Studies, especially Dr. Allen and Dr. Welsh, who've been our big supporters. The APUS Graduate Research Office, Kelsey and Lori, and all that you guys do to support us, we really appreciate. And the American Public University System, we're really grateful for, the opportunity to be able to do these missions. Let's see, there we go. And I always like to end with this slide. If you'd like to learn more, right? We have a bunch of different social media outlets, And we have a communications team, Bo alluded to that, that actively posts pictures and video from our websites and interesting little factoids from them. And we feature different people from the organization. So we'd love to have you visit, like, subscribe, whatever is appropriate for the different social media. But please come and see what we're up to and check back frequently. And with that, I will go ahead and stop sharing. And oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for putting the website in the chat as well. Yeah. But we're happy to take any questions. Oh, Olivia, I see Olivia's back. Olivia, do you want to come on real quick and chat?
Yeah, sorry, I was walking into work and I thought Dennis would give me a few more minutes, but it was brief. And I was like, no. Anyhow, yes, Olivia Turner here, APUS students. So thrilled for the opportunity to get a flyer via email in one of my classes and that says check out ARG. And then I just threw my hat in the ring. My application was accepted and I got to participate in 4i. What a phenomenal experience. The value added is unbelievable. Boots on the ground, learning on the fly, testing your limits in an extreme environment, and then working within those variables and in a confined space from the mission control side in that extreme environment. You can't put a price on this experience, and I really hope APUS continues funding and supporting ARG and future missions, because it's been so unbelievable. And even then we just did, like Dr. Miller said, the pirate mission. You all supported people going underwater and doing research, and it was amazing. And we had a blast, and it was only for one night, but we can always say we were there for one night. So yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Love it. And thank you again, Dr. Miller, and everyone that puts up with my enthusiasm for all these missions.
Thank you so much, Olivia. She's been awesome. Each of the students on the call, and William as well, who I know can't come on video right now. I'm sorry, on audio right now. But each of our crew have been just incredible. We get compliments everywhere we go. They are such ambassadors for APUS and for our program. So many people just say this was by far, the best crew, the most mature, the most organized. They did the best research. They have just, it's been amazing to have them here. And so, ARG would not be what it is without the amazing students in there. And you've seen some of the cream of the crop today, but they are all amazing. So we really appreciate the opportunity to work with each one of them. And with that, I know we're just 1 or 2 minutes over. I hope that's okay, but thank you again for the time to present, and we're happy to take any questions. And I wasn't really following much in the chat. I don't know if there's any questions or if anyone has anything they'd like to ask.
Not so far. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Johnson. I want to maybe put the spotlight on you. They did talk about the spirulina project, and I know you're a soil scientist yourself.
Such a cool project. Oh my gosh. That was one of the first PR opportunities I had. And they were like, would you like to have a quote for this? I'm like, would I like to have a quote for this? It was such a great project.
Thank you. Sarah and William, who are on the call today, they were actually part of the mission that just finished, which was the first one that actually ran that. We're going to run it again in the fall, and they did a fantastic job. They were sort of our guinea pigs. We had the methods mostly figured out, but not 100%. And thank goodness for Sarah and Moses and William, who made it work and got some pretty incredible data. So
excellent. Well, I cannot wait to see the results. That's so exciting.
We're excited too. The plants all grew, so that was the step one. Yay.
It's a win.
All right.
Well, I did put this in the chat, and this is kind of for Bo. As we were talking about kind of this really the psychological experience that you have when you're on an analog mission like this. I can't step outside to take a breath. I was wondering if you had kind of looked at any interviews or read any articles on the Submariner experience. My brother-in-law was a Submariner for 11 years. So some of those things made me think about his stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw Dr. Miller also responded saying we do utilize that. And yeah, there's a lot of times where when you don't have any with like the space programs, when you don't have any idea how something might turn out, they look at like what did this happen on submarines before? Like how did these people cope with it? What were the percentages of people washing out or having mental breakdowns? Things like that. And that's all very real. However, then, that can only get you so far before you actually have to do it with the parameters, the space parameters types of things. So, you can use that as a reference to make your mission plan, but then you have to actually, conduct it with a different set of parameters to get, quantifiable results.
Makes sense.
Yeah. One of the reasons that we do the analogs, that was really well said, Bo, thank you. One of the reasons that we do the analogs is that it is a way, it's just one more way of testing before we actually go to space. We had Professor Wallace, Deanna Wallace, who's part of the Space Studies faculty and one of our faculty advisors for ARG. He always says, try it before you buy it. Before NASA is going to pay to put that payload in space, where the risk is so much higher and so much more expensive, they want to test things out in analog missions. And there are actual, NASA run analog missions where they're testing many different things, but they also look at some of the commercial analogs and what different groups are doing there to, get an idea for some of the things, the technologies, the mitigations, the procedures that can give us the best chance of success. Because, once that rocket takes off, then, there's very little room for error, right?
Yeah, stakes are high. I think, aren't they hiring for like a 2-year analog mission right now, NASA? I thought I saw
NASA's
something
doing a
like that.
much longer term one at the moment. Yes, they're recruiting for that. They do. Yeah, they've been moving towards longer and longer term analogs to mimic the longer and longer term stays that will be required, moving forward with the Artemis program on the moon, as well as looking to Mars, which will be a very long term space experience for the astronauts that embark on that. So a lot of things we need to figure out before we can survive successfully in those situations. So,
And we're a part of that conversation with
yeah.
this research, which is really incredible. And Sarah, did I hear that you graduated in June of this year?
Yes, ma'am. I
Congrats.
conferred June 1st, so I was very lucky to be able to walk across the stage last month and participate in Grad Fest. In fact, we had our own booth there at Grad Fest, so maybe you saw us.
Awesome. Congratulations. Donna left a comment in the chat. Thanks for the great talk. It reminds me of Biosphere too. I'm not sure what that is, but
Yes, and we're actually just on that note, we're actually our next big mission, our next third mission that we're going to in 2025, February of 2025, will be to the SAM facility, which is Biosphere 2. So we're really excited. We've got a crew and we're working towards preparing and training for that. Dennis will actually be our flight director for that mission, and Olivia will be part of the crew. And we've got 8 students who will be part of that mission. So we are super excited for that. It's a very different analog from anything we've been to before. So it has a lot of really interesting opportunities. That one is actually pressurized and sealed, which makes it similar to Jules, where you can't just simply walk out if you get tired or if something goes wrong. So there's a whole other level of fidelity and psychological issues that come in when you don't have that fail safe. So we are very much looking forward to that.
And in thinking about that, sort of the psychological prep work, and maybe Dennis can speak to this a little bit because you've helped run these missions. What sort of prep work do you do with the crews, especially when you have new folks coming in?
Some of the prep work that we do is we definitely go through the SOP. So the SOP actually spells out a lot of different things, such as like what constitutes an emergency, uh, deviations from the plan, how to use the facility, things like that. The mental preparation is also comes into play. It's just in our meetings and where we're just talking it out and we go through some of the steps. We'll actually do dry runs where we'll actually sit down and we'll say, okay, you wake up 8 a.m. What's the first thing you do? And then we actually go through all the steps during the day, and that helps prepare the crew as well, just so that they have a good idea of what they're coming into and what their day looks like.
Thanks. I mean, we're at time. I don't see, oh, there's Casey. I was about to say, I don't see Casey yet. We're at time. Thank you all so much for coming. This is always outstanding to hear from each of you. I love the pictures. Research and academic excellence is an avid follower of the YouTube channel, I will say. Brag on y'all for a little bit. So thank you again so much for being here. This is always such a treat for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us come and talk about ARG again. And thank you to each of the students. Thank you so much for making time to be here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.